This is the News on 6 at 5.
And a local company helps keep high school football players safe on the field. Good evening, I'm Craig Day.
And I'm Lori Fullbright. We're glad you joined us.
Tulsa Public School students may be 2 weeks away from hitting the books, but the hits have already started on the gridiron. As players gear up for football season, parents worry about the possibility of injuries and big bucks in medical bills. Well, a Tulsa business is investing in a little prevention. News on 6 anchor Scott Thompson is here with more. Scott?
Craig, Regal Car Sales is bankrolling thousands of dollars worth of new equipment to protect athletes at Tulsa's Science High in Booker T, Washington. Regal's buying $7,500 worth of new knee braces for every player on the offensive and defensive lines. The braces should dramatically reduce the number of injuries. The two schools would not be able to afford those braces without the help.
Compared to a Jenks Union who has a budget in excess of $300,000, their budget's around $15,000, and they just did not have the money to do it. And I asked Coach, okay, what's your number one priority? And he told me it was safety.
There's a pretty good expense, but you know, when it comes to these kids, it's definitely worth it.
And because of those donations, Booker T and TSST are the only Tulsa schools with that extra equipment. And tonight at 10, we'll meet a player who says those braces could mean the difference between a record-setting season and a year on the bench. Craig and Lori, who wants to spend a year on the bench?
Nobody. All right, Scott, thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
This is the News on 6 at 10.
And the Tulsa company invests in prevention so high school football injuries won't break the bank or players' knees.
Like all sports, football's all fun and games until someone gets hurt.
Until now, knee braces have seemed like a luxury item for high school players, but as they get bigger and stronger and faster, their potential for injury goes way up too. So to help, Tulsa's Regal Car Sales invested more than $7,000 in new equipment to help players at Tulsa Science High in Booker T, Washington, brace for injuries. It was about this time 2 years ago. James Simmons was just a freshman, but he got a real taste of what football's all about.
And I got rolled up from behind, and I just felt a sharp pain, and ever since it just went downhill from that.
He blew out his left knee. For him, the season was over. Luckily, it happened early in his football career, and he still has time to impress college scouts. Others aren't so fortunate. Booker T lost its starting left tackle earlier this summer to a knee injury. His career is over for this year, and perhaps for the rest of his life. Depends on rehab. Now, the thinking goes that had he been wearing one of these new braces, things might have turned out differently.
Somebody's going to have to be able to recruit him on what he's done in his sophomore and junior season. So that's definitely going to hurt him for his recruiting.
Now Regal Car Sales is buying knee braces for all the players on the offensive and defensive lines. Schools with bigger football budgets like Union and Jenks already outfit their players with knee braces, but until Regal stepped up to the plate, extra protection was out of the question in the Tulsa district.
Unfortunately, with some of the budget downturns, there just hasn't been enough money, and there are a number of promising kids here that, you know, a knee injury can ruin their career and potential for going to college.
And that's a risk no one wants to take. It may be too late for some, but Booker T is determined not to lose any more players to preventable injuries.
We're just fortunate enough that we're going to be able to get our other guys in braces before we get deeper into the season.
And those new knee braces should make their debut by the second game of this season.
This is Oklahoma's News Channel 8. Now, first on 8.
A couple of Tulsa Public Schools getting some much-needed help. TSST and Booker T football players will get knee braces to help the players avoid injuries. Regal Car Sales donating $3,700 to each school. Don't forget about our high school preview special live this Friday night. I'll be at Union. Ruben Diaz at Jenks. We'll spend an hour with you from 8 to 9.
From the News on 6, it's 6 in the morning.
Tulsa Public School students may be 2 weeks away from hitting the books, but the hits have already started on the gridiron. To make sure most athletes make it through the season injury-free, Regal Car Sales is investing in thousands of dollars worth of knee braces. Students at Tulsa School for Science and Technology and Booker T, Washington are getting the braces.
Compared to a Jenks Union who has a budget in excess of $300,000, their budget's around $15,000, and they just did not have the money to do it. And I asked Coach, okay, what's your number one priority? And he told me it was safety.
There's a pretty good expense, but you know, when it comes to these kids, it's definitely worth it.
All of the athletes will be sporting the new braces by the second game of the season.